who can at least lob a ball? It's like bench warmers, when he gets hurt and it's like, you throw newspapers, right? You can throw a ball.
Well, do you were you icing every day, or were you rehabbing every day, or were you just trying to give it a break?
So I was the type of person that I developed a routine of if I'm not throwing, I had days I would always not I wouldn't always start the day after I pitched just to get the arm moving, just to get that lactic acid moving, and then I would shut it down the next day, and then I would go to like 120 feet, 160 feet, 180 feet, and then the day before I pitch, I would shut it down again,
Oh wow.
just to do like a recovery, not push it. But some days I would be like, hey, I don't feel great. Let me just go out there and spin a couple just to get some feel right before. But it'd be very like it would be a hard 10 to 12 throws, and then that shut down at like
Well,
max is 70 feet.
what about a game day routine then when you were right there?
So the day routine was always get to the stadium. Uh, I know a lot of pitchers like to show up whenever, because the starting guy can show up, an hour before the game, whenever. I like to view it as I'm not special because these guys show up day in and day out. I'm talking about the fielders, and they play
Hmm.
every single game, and I come in and play 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 3 or whatever it may have been. I'm like, I'm not special. So I have no reason or no excuse to show up, 10 minutes or an hour, or, 30 seconds before game time. Like, I'm going to get to the stadium when they get to the stadium. If that
Hmm.
means I just sit in the locker room with my headphones in, just hanging out, vibing, then that's what it's going to be. But I never felt like I was bigger than anybody in that locker room because I wasn't. And that's my mindset. So I would show up uh, about 2 hours whatever I think whatever report time was about 2 hours. Most of the time was away 2 hours before game, and then around an hour and 10 minutes exactly, I would start moving my body. I'd start slowly stretching out, foam rolling, and everything. And then about 45 minutes of a stretch routine, slow, make sure every part of my body was stretched out so I wouldn't have any pulls or cramps. I would start heating and stemming my body with the massage gun, and then after that, I would head to the field and start throwing.
Oh wow. So you had a pretty big routine. That's how I was though. I had the same mindset. Everyone's day in day out, and you're the pitcher. Even though I love to be fielding too, I love that shit. But pitching was just on the resume. And but I was always, whenever they were hitting, I always had to end up doing the bucket. And it got to the point where I was like, this is just getting tiring. Like I hate doing the bucket all the time. Like
Oh,
with
I
hitting
mean,
BP.
they always made the guy that pitched the night before do buckets, so that was always,
That's a good
kind of,
rule. Maybe
yeah.
our team didn't
But
do that.
they always made the rookies do buckets, so I had bucket quite a few times, more than I had to care. I would like to care to admit, but I had the bucket. But I will ask this though: did you ever get bombed when you're on the bucket?
Would you're not paying attention, you get drilled.
No, no, no. So bomb is when like you have all the outfielders, all the pitchers, or they all get a ball without showing it to you, and then you're on bucket, and then on three they go 1, 2, 3, and you got everybody lobs the ball at you at once, and you're sitting there going, "Oh my god!" And most of the time, everybody just sits there and takes it, and I looked at it and just walked away, and I was like, "I'm not picking all this up, you guys," because I did it. I was a part of throwing bombs at the new guys, and I had it done to me all the time. It was just a way of like giving the new guy a hard time. But
I
yeah, I
I
mean,
that
you
never
did.
happened to me.
You
No.
never got bombed? Oh, dude,
No.
it's kind of funny though because the expression everybody gives, including myself, was just like, God, like, okay, great, but now I got to pick up like 30 balls that came out of nowhere.
And then
But
your
then now
coach is bitching for balls to come
oh yeah.
back.
Oh, the thing is that like it's all about the timing because you got to do it. You got to like time up with what the coach is looking at. Like you got to look at his bucket. Like, all right, he's running low. All right, so now he's gonna need balls pretty soon. Like let's get all these balls to this guy at this second because you're sitting there like where you're looking at your bucket, you're looking around like where'd all the balls go? Like you don't have any of them, but they're getting hit, so you just don't you don't have them. And then you're like, oh crap, I got to pick up 15 to 30 balls or whatever it is within like 10 seconds because the coach is screaming at you, he needs balls. And then he starts getting mad at you because he looks behind him and all he sees are these balls everywhere. Like, you're not doing your
He's
job.
like,
And
"What's
it's
the?
just like,
Yeah, you're not doing your job."
so it's like, not only are you screwing with him, like getting him, like just absolutely just beyond like overwhelmed with baseballs flying everywhere. You're getting him in trouble with a coach, and he's just like, I don't know what to do. So it's
Well,
just
I don't think I had I think I had a version of the bomb because what I used to my first baseman actually called out our team one time because uh it was getting to the point where it's so annoying. Like people would pick up a ball, but they would just like lob it back in. You know, they're deep outfield. They just lob it back in, and you have to go out and get it. And so that was I guess my version of the bomb. Everyone wouldn't even get close to the bucket, so I wouldn't have to. You know, I'd have to go everywhere to go pick it up. And I was like, this is just getting too annoying. And to the point where the one point I just stopped doing it. And my coach was like, Adam, go do it. And like I had, you know, when he called me out, I had to go do it. But the times he forgot, my first baseman was like, he's like, guys, you know, someone else has to do this. Another pitcher has to do this because I was always the first one showing up with the, you know, the fielders. So that's where that feeling came. I was like, dude, I'm so annoyed by this stuff.
no, I get it. It's the most monotonous work. You know, nobody really understands how much it sucks to be on bucket duty. Everybody's like, oh, it's not that bad. No, it sucks. It's the worst job in baseball. I feel like you're
I
sitting
agree.
there and you turn around. There's a ball going past you because the right fielder threw one in, and you go to get it. You turn around, the other ball's going right past you again because the left fielder threw it. And you're just like, God, man. Every time I turn around, there's a new ball rolling past me. I have to go chase like a dog to go get. It's the most
well, for
monotonous work.
Well, for anyone who just didn't understand any of that conversation, pretty much bucket duty is when the fielders and you know batters are taking BP, batting practice. The coach is throwing to them, and they have to hit it out. And you're standing usually behind second base, you know, right in the line of the outfield and infield, and you know there's a screen in front of you. You have a bucket, and then everyone's catching the balls and chucking it back to you. So you give it back to coach, and just the process. But yeah, so after that year of professional baseball, what ended up happening then? You're what, 20, 23, 24 at that point?
No, I was 20. I was 26. So I actually, before COVID, I had talked to a team called the Grand Prairie Airhogs in the American Association still, at the time, and I talked to them, sent them some video, and they said that they really liked what I had, and that they were very interested in. And at this point, I'm in Georgia. I'm not even in Texas yet. And that they were inviting me to spring training. Well, right as I'm literally about to head out, like the week before I'm about to head out and throw live for them, COVID had hit like its peak. Like everybody started like at that point it had already been shown the NBA had already had their shutdown, MLB had their spring training shutdown. And I'm sitting there looking at the news going, something's gonna happen. Like it's I don't want it to happen. I'm praying that they're just gonna like an independent ball, you can speak from this. There's not a lot of fans, like regardless of the league, unless it's just a freak night where it's like a huge promotion or it's a Friday, you just happen to get a ton of fans. Like at most, depending on the league, you might only have like 1,500, 2,000 fans in the stands.
Mm.
So like you can easily space that out within some of these stadiums. They're pretty big. And I'm sitting there going, okay, maybe we'll still try to make this work. We're not going to have 35,000 people in the stands. We can make it happen. And then I got the call saying, hey, season's now no longer happening, period. We're not even going to try to push it back. We're just going to go ahead and just not have a season. And I ended up calling the team multiple times to go out there and like, hey, what's happening? Like, I'm still wanting to make this happen. I can do a quick fly out. I can, pitch for you guys in case all of a sudden the commissioner changes his mind and we do have a season. Like, I'm ready to go. And just unanswered call after unanswered call for 3-4 months. And then all of a sudden, I come to find out that team even disbanded. They had completely just shut down, no longer, ownership was
Wow.
gone. Yeah. So that was interesting. So now I'm sitting there going, I'm back at square one. And it's middle of June at this point, and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and move to Texas because I knew there was other opportunities there. I was gonna go to grad school during COVID, not waste my time. That's part of my backup plan. So I'm 24 at this time. Yeah, 24 at this time, or I'm sorry, 25 at the time, 24, 25, and I'm in Texas in grad school for during the 2020 year. And then I'm doing my research, trying to find out where I'm going to go next. Like, hey, where am I going to play? Who has this opportunity for me? And there's a team that was the same distance as the team I tried to initially play for, just further south. So I drove and worked out with that team. We actually played a couple spring training games against them with the organization, the Black Sox, which is like a
Yeah.
minor league team for independent ball. Like they're like the feeder program.
Hmm.
I know that guy Joe Torre runs a great organization there, and he gets a lot of guys signed to independent ball in a lot of high end leagues. He's really good at what he does. He's been doing it for I think close to 15 to 17 years now. He's done it for a while, and had the opportunity to play with them and pitch, and got signed and played this past season. And unfortunately, I was released twice. After following my Atlantic League release, I came to Arizona trying to pitch and get signed by an affiliate, um, and just had a hard look at the finances and decided 26 years old, is old for the game, and I'm out of money, and it's just time to make that move of just taking that next step in life and move on to something else, which is unfortunate.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that, and it's hard to even talk about that stuff. Because me looking at 24 right now, I have this backup plans. It's like I have like money making moves, and I'm at the point where I'm making some money. It's not like much money yet, but that's where it gets scary. Cause and I was even talking to Joe about this. I was like, because you have the people, the naysayers in your life saying, they're being negative, and they're like, you should just quit already, and it's hard to hear that. But then you have some people who believe in you, and then I just talked to Joe about it because I was getting in my head a lot recently, and I was like, what do what would you do if you were in my shoes? And he's like, well, Joe was thinking about quitting his junior year in college, from what he told me, and then he was like, I would have quit by now, but he was like, but you keep progressing, so really try to give this a try, and so that's where it gets hard because you have people negative, and you shouldn't be listening to anyone negative. I know I talked like this with you that's really quick over text, but you have people who are like, go for it, and it's about what you do and how you can make the money, how you can make maybe passive income while you're there and see where it goes.
Yeah, so like I had the exact same people telling me, not the same story, same thing being said to me, same, mindset. And to like elaborate a little bit on it, and like even what Joe was saying, yeah, Joe, being with Joe every day in college and talking to him, getting where his mindset was, being a guy that he was and being on money, we both were really unhappy with the situation that we were unfortunately placed in at Southern. We both loved the school. We both loved our teammates. We just had some disagreements with the coaching staff, which like every player is going to have disagreements with the coaching staff. Like no team is 100% happy with every situation. And when I say that, like I'm talking about player situation. No players like not every player is gonna be happy. Oh, I'm happy with my playing time. No, there's always gonna be disagreements with the coaching staff. Like, hey, I think I should get an opportunity, this and that. But the overall experience I think we both had from Southern was a positive one. But we both had times where we're like a little bit frustrated with what had happened and what was transpiring. So I can wholeheartedly like confirm that he was that, and he just happened to go to the Cape and just really go off, and that's what happens. And it only takes one opportunity. And so to say that to you, I wouldn't let any outside forces or any voices outside try to influence you because you still are young for the game. Like you still have that golden window. Like I'm 26, turning 27 in 2022. I'm considered old. Like most guys at my age are already in the show or are already retiring due to arm fatigue or whatever. You're still young in that aspect of 24. You already had your foot in the door playing professional baseball before I did, technically age wise. So I would continue to push forward and not let anybody get in your head or anybody distract you from this because you only have one opportunity in life. It's your
Right.
life. Don't let other people influence you with what makes you happy. I would run it until the wheels fall off. If that be your arm gives out, that be you look at your financial situation, which is my biggest problem was I ran out of money. Like you know just as well as I do, and most anybody that listens to this and or plays baseball is going to know that minor league baseball players, independent baseball players, don't make anything. You really don't make
Hmm.
any money. 1,200 a month depending on your status. And that's, when I say status, like you could be a guy that was in the big leagues and come down and you're still making awful money, but you might make a little bit more than a rookie